Hey guys, today we're going to go through all of my pickups from a trip I made to GT Games in Traverse City. So let's talk about them and go through everything I got. If you guys want to get straight to the pickups here, you don't care about my story with GT Games, go to this time code here so you can get straight to the pickups here. Other than that, stick around and I hope you enjoy what I got to say for them. So, GT Games or Grand Traverse Games, they're located in Traverse City, Michigan. And honestly, of all the stores I have been in Michigan, in my home state, they are arguably the best store that I have ever been to. I make a point to try and go to them like whenever I can for like certain weeks, and the main reasons that I love them so much is for three reasons. One, they always have weekly deals and even weekend deals that changes every single week. Then secondly, they have a very good system where if you wear one of their shirts, which they have like 4, and they do change it every year, that I'll show you the one that I got here, that if you're wearing any of their shirts you got, your order will be 10% off of anything in the store. And the third reason is for the way that they manage their labels for games, and I'll show you that in a second and explain like why I love that. GT Games, I have like talked about them like previous videos. I made like one video which I'll link up top there for you guys, and all the stuff that I got from them here that you see in this video is all from store credit. Because GT Games, they're the one store that I did take like a big chunk of my amiibo collection towards to get a lot of store credit and some cash as well. I'm not going to go into this video of like why I traded my whole collection there, as I made 2 videos on my amiibo collection, going through them all, and also why I sold it, which I'll link up there as well, so you guys can go see that. That we're not going to get into it in this video here, but yeah, GT, they do carry stuff from all the way from like Atari all the way to current gen stuff. So they got like wide variety of games and consoles there that no matter which system you're into, they'll always have something for you. And they're not only like a video game store, but they also have another section on the other side that is a card game shop. They seem to be mostly big into like Magic the Gathering, from what I've noticed. I do apologize, I haven't like gone over there much because personally I'm not into card games at all, honestly. I'm only into like Pokemon trading card game stuff like every once in a while, but they do have that stuff there. They got plenty of like anime or like pop culture figures you can find there as well. That the guy that's over in that side of the store that runs it, his name is Corey, and he's kind of like the main guy that runs the store there, as he proclaims, and he's a very, very good guy. He's willing to work with you on like any trade-ins that you find and all that. So him and Dan is the one that always helps me with my trade-ins, everything, and like they're all very good people over there. And so yeah, if you guys are in the area in Traverse City, like I can't recommend GT Games enough, because they always got amazing stuff there. They're very friendly with their customers. They got amazing deals going on, as I said. And they're very communicative with like their customers as well, because if you have like a question, if they have something in stock, or you can send them like a picture of like what you have, and they'll give you like a rough estimate of what they could give you for like store credit and cash through Facebook Messenger, and they're very good at like getting back with you during business hours, that is. So yeah, do check them out if you guys are in the area. So I can't recommend them enough. All right, so with all that said, let's go through everything I got here, because got plenty of stuff to go through here. First one to show is my only Vita game, and this is one that I've wanted for a long time, and that's Child of Light. Now, Child of Light, this was a RPG game that was released on multiple platforms back then, but this Vita copy here, this is the only physical version of this game that exists. Anything else that would have like a case or box, all of them were just digital codes. But the Vita version here, it's an actual like physical copy they have in there, and to this day this game hasn't been re-released in any other physical form. Now remember what I said of what GT games, the third reason I love them was their price labels. This little sticker here, the price on there, that is all they do for labels. It's just a tiny little sticker that you just rip off and that's it. I can't stress how much I love that, because I hate it when other stores would just have big labels onto the case that would have like a ridiculous amount of adhesive under them that is just a pain to rip off, that may require like many minutes or hours of Goo Gone to get them off, and they potentially could damage the case if they're on there over time. So yeah, I can't stress how much I love that a lot, because that tells me, GT, you guys clearly you care about your games that you have in stock and all that, but you care for like the person that would get them, and potentially a collector like me for like the condition that they're in and everything. Don't know if that's your main intention for those stickers there, but they're simple. Done processing it, just slap it on there and call it good from there. I seriously love that. I'm serious. Alright, so next stack, these are all PlayStation 1 games here, and yes, even these bottom 4 PlayStation 1 games, and I'll explain to those when I get to them. This first one, I used to play this a lot back then, and I haven't like played it since I was probably like 9 or 10 years old. Medal of Honor Underground. This game was, I would say, like the Medal of Honor series. It was definitely much bigger back then, during like the 5th and 6th generation of systems. These days, it doesn't exist anymore because EA ruined the series. But for this game here, because it was on like the PS1, I am really afraid to like go back and play this game again. So I'm not looking forward to like how the controls have aged in this game, given like how we are accustomed to with first-person shooters these days, with like analog controls, of course. But for me, is because I only play first-person shooters, third-person shooters on PC, that I don't want to deal with the controls, however they were back then. That it makes me worry that if I play that again, it's like, God, this was not as good as I remember. But all right, next game is Blaster Master Blasting Again. The only reason I picked this up because it's a Blaster Master games. Like, I know for like the NES games, as well as like the more recent titles that came out from Inti Creates, like I really enjoyed those games. So don't think it's any of those games or anything like this here, but nonetheless, you want to pick it up for the namesake. This one I played a decent amount back then. I was never good at it, probably because I just wasn't smart enough to understand everything in the game. Worms World Party. This is, of course, it's a Worms game. If you're unfamiliar with this series, it's basically like a turn-based battle royale party game that I don't know how to like compare it to like other games, but you have like a variety of weapons, and depending on what you use, you like shoot them across like the stage to take out your opponents, and all the weapons, like, they work completely differently too, so it's definitely got a big variety for its gameplay, for all of its weapons and stuff. But recommend you check out the newer games so you have an understanding of what type of game it is, but I do remember playing that decent amount back then. Next one, Namco Museum Volume 3. Let's see, this one comes with Galaxian, Miss Pac-Man, Pole Position, Dig Dug, Fozon, and I can't read that other one. It's Draga. I've never played that one back then, never heard of that. But they did make 5 Namco Museums games on the PS1 back then. This is the first one that I got, and hopefully I can get the rest of them. Next one, true classic on the PlayStation 1, Spyro the Dragon. Spyro the Dragon, this is the very first game Spyro made his appearance in, and this was like one of the 3 games that they did like a complete remake on like current systems. Like the whole trilogy got the remake in the Reignited trilogy, that's what it was called. The first game here, honestly, it hasn't aged well much compared to like the other games, that they're just arguably just much better games compared to this one. But don't let the put down that this game isn't good. It's still like a good game to play though, but just the other games are honestly much better. Next one, it's Spec Ops Airborne Commando. Only reason I picked this up mainly because it was a Spec Ops game. I know Spec Ops: The Line, which is like the newest and last game that we've had in the series, is like a phenomenal game that I felt like getting like the rest of the games in the series just for the namesake. Next one, Spec Ops: Stealth Patrol. Similar thing with like the previous one. Just want to like own like multiple Spec Ops games. Next one, never heard of this one before, but it looks pretty interesting. Colony Wars. It kind of looks like a, I don't know if you would say like a Star Fox game, but it seems like those type of space shooters where you're in like a big world and you got like multiple different enemy ships that you have to like shoot and take down. Think of it like the all-range mode from the Star Fox games. Like that's the type of gameplay of like what this seems to be here. This last one here is like a weird one here. It's RPG Maker. So we all know RPG Maker. It's that one tool that we all used, that people use to make up fan-made RPG games, right? Some of the more interesting ones have been, say, like RPG Maker games that are developed to be, and they don't use any RPG mechanics. Like probably the most notable one is Corpse Party. But I like never heard of this, that they even made this for the PS1 back then. So like what is it, just the whole like development tools for the PS1, and that the only way that other people could play was that they come over to your place and play the game that way? It's weird that they made this. And plus, yeah, it is in like a double case here, but there's only one disc. The reason that it's like this is because the disc is not there. It's just like artwork and a PlayStation logo in the spine. There's the manual. And then the other side is another manual. It's like a two-part manual, and then here's the actual disc for the game. So I just want to pick that up because that was like such a weird thing that they released back then. Alright, so these last four here, these are some long box PlayStation 1 games. If you're unfamiliar, when the PlayStation 1 originally came out, the games originally came in these types of cases. Where they were just these long box, similar to like Sega CD and Sega Saturn games for like North American copies. That I really wish they kind of stuck with these for a little bit, but understandably why they went to jewel cases, because they're clearly like more cheaper and easier to store as well. But these, I think there's little over 100 separate titles that they've released in these long box releases here that I do hope to one day have every single one of them, because I absolutely love how all these look. They made 3 different types of long boxes for the system that one of them is, like you'll see here, is like very similar to like the Sega CD and Sega Saturn cases, but this first one here, this is my favorite type. Like most people's favorite type here is just the way that they made this. But this first one, it's Off-World Interceptor Extreme. This kind of looks like a Twisted Metal like game, where it's like an open world car combat game. It's made by Crystal Dynamics, which we mostly know them today for like the most recent Tomb Raider games. But yeah, this long box here, as you can see, it has like a real ridge to the side of the casing here, compared to like the, you know, the jewel cases where it's just a painted picture on there. But and another thing that is nice with these is when you open it up, it actually has some artwork on them. So when you open it, you got like the manual and the game disc, but you see underneath the game disc is separate art piece. They're taking the manual out as well as the disc. So you get like other artworks, or maybe like advertisements of like what other games are coming out and stuff. All like the other ones, I'm aware they are not like this at all for the 2 other long box cases, but yeah, these are really awesome. That kind of wish they stuck with these longer back then, but hey, we'll take what we got though. Whoops. Alright, so next one, these are all like I said, these are very similar, like Sega CD type cases. These are probably like my least favorite of what they made, but hey, they're still long boxes, and I love that they made these. But first one, it's WrestleMania, the arcade game. I remember playing this game a decent amount back then. I don't know why, because Like these days, I do not like sports games whatsoever, except maybe Rocket League back then, but yeah, for some reason, I played this a decent amount back then. I really can't tell you why. I do believe this game was released in like a regular jewel case, though, because I know that we did not have like this back then. It's like I never knew like they made long box games until like way after that the system was relevant back then. Next one is College Slam. This one, I do know this game was on other platforms, if I recall. I think this was on the Saturn back then. But this is just another sports game here. It's like, once again, I don't care for sports games. The only reason to pick this up, similar to the rest of WrestleMania, because long box PS1 game. This last one is High Octane. Kind of similar to the other one there. This seems to be like a Twisted Metal-like game, but it seems to have more platforming elements to it. It seems like much more arcadey for like racing games, kind of like the Namco racing games back then. But yeah, wanted to pick it up just because, once again, long box game. And to show you like what is in these types of cases when you open it up, it's just like a blank slate on like in the inside of it, very similar to like a Sega Saturn case, and the actual like cover art is like the actual manual of the game as well too. So yep, that'll do it for that stuff. Should clear up room there. All right, then next one is my only Wii U game I got, and this one I've been wanting to get for a while, but price of it though is like never like appealing to get until I decided to get it now with store credit at GT Games. That's Wii Sports Club. Now, believe me when I say this, yeah, this game is hard to find on the Wii U, and as a result, it's almost like the price of a brand new game today. And the reason why is it was like a late release for the system somewhat, and also had like a low print run, which is kind of surprising because like they made it as like a sequel to Wii Sports, and we know how big that game was. You thought they would probably try to push this game more somewhat, or come out like much earlier in the system's lifespan, but hey, it was the Wii U, and we all know how that turned out. An interesting thing with this game compared to every other physical release for the game, it's missing the top of the blue spine there compared to like all the other ones. They have it in the very top. So when it's going to be on the shelf here, it's going to stick out a little bit there. This is the only Wii U game that is like that too, interestingly enough. Alright, these next four are some OG Xbox and some Xbox 360 games. Mainly got these due to the sale that GT Games had going on for it, and these were like some games that were like are like kind of exclusive to Xbox, so I just want to get them for that sake. First one, I'm sure we all know, is Halo 2. Yeah, I didn't have Halo 2 because, well, then again, I barely get stuff for Xbox, but yeah, I did play this a decent amount back then when my brother got an OG Xbox back then, and interestingly enough, you know your history, this, I'm sure to this day, this is still the only time that Xbox has ever made a profit in the company's entire history, still to this day. Next one, this is a 360 game, it's Prey. Prey, I do recall this game was in development hell for a long time. They were planning to make a sequel to this game, but that got canceled outright, and then the newest Prey that we got, made by the same guys that made Dishonored, and more recently Deathloop, they did like do like a reimagining of this game here, and I absolutely love that game. I haven't played this game yet, though. In fact, if you want to play the original Prey here, I'm sure this is the only way you can play the game, because every other platform, which all had like digital releases on like PC, for example, they've been delisted because of the newest Prey game that they released here. So yeah, consider like getting this for your collection if you're all interested in it, because this is probably still the only way that you can play this game officially. Next one is Tales of Vesperia. Only picked this up because it's a Tales of game. I'm a big fan of just JRPGs overall, so yeah, and the fact that it says like only on Xbox 360, though I'm sure this game has been like re-released on other platforms of recent years, but I still wanted to get it because it was a Tales of game. Next one, this is an OG Xbox game, and I really like the box art for this one. It's Dead or Alive 2 Ultimate. I am like a fan of the Dead or Alive games. It is one of my more favorite fighting game series out there. And what instantly caught my eye with this, this is not like a custom artwork for the game. This is how it was originally released. Like, it's just full art of the game, no banner or anything, not even on like the, well, it's got one on the spine there, but also like the back is just nothing but artwork right there. Just want to pick that up because that just like stuck out to me a lot. Next batch, these are all PS3 games here, and I think this breaks me having more than 320 games in my overall PS3 collection. These are just ones that I just didn't have and I just really wanted to get. That first one is Kingdom Hearts 1.5 Remix Limited Edition. I do remember that I did pick this up way back then when I was like really into the system back in like 2012, I want to say. This is, I do have like the standard version of this game here. This limited edition, all it is, it just comes with a little like art book, and then inside it's very few page art book here, and then at the very end is the actual game disc. For some reason this game disc doesn't work. I did test it before this video. Like, it like my system, like, it doesn't read the disc at all, which I find is really strange, but not a big deal because I do own like 2 other copies of this game really on the PS3, the standard one that I mentioned, as well as the limited edition 2.5 remix on the PS3, which comes with 2.5 obviously, as well as a copy of 1.5 on the system as well that I may show you at a later date. But next game here, Yakuza 3. Yakuza has been like a series I've been getting into recently, and I do believe like Yakuza 3, this was how the game originally came out, and I like never heard of this series until like Yakuza 5, when the series pretty much blew up last generation. So I just wanted to get this here because I do like getting PlayStation 3 games that does have that only on PlayStation banner right there. Next one is Resistance 2. I do have the collector's edition of this game here. I do have that sealed for like the game itself, but now that I can like play the game officially with this way, just a standard release here that I wanted to get. Next one is Kingdom Hearts 2.5 Remix. Like I said, I do have the collector's edition of this game, but I just didn't have like a standard copy of it, hence why I wanted to get it. Next one, I'm happy to have this here, Dead Space. Dead Space, still a very, very good survival horror game to play. It is getting, which is awesome, a remake of this game here that I can't wait when that comes out, and it better be faithful to this original game here. But yeah, the original one though, it's still very worth playing still to this day. Next one, I showed this in like another pickups video, but I just didn't have like this particular version of it. That's Spec Ops: The Line. The one that I showed in my other video, it's like the premium edition where it just came with like a slip with some like multiplayer cosmetics, even though this game, it's notorious for its multiplayer being absolute garbage. But not to trash in like the overall game itself though. Spec Ops: The Line, very, very worth playing today. If you are at all into first-person shooters, third-person shooters, like, this is a mandatory experience if you're into those genres, or just video games in general. So if you haven't played it yet, it's like good, but also shame on you. But don't look up anything on the game. Just go into it completely blind, play the whole thing through for the single-player campaign. Just ignore the multiplayer because nobody plays it. And just, it possibly may be one of the most memorable gaming experiences you'll ever have. Next one, this is only a game that I picked up due to, it's one of the few blue-spined PS3 games that I have like very few left that I have to get to complete this sub-series, but this one, it's Dynasty Warriors 8 Extreme Legends. I'm not a big fan of Dynasty Warriors at all, but that, like I said, the only reason I got this was because that it's one of the few blue banner PS3 games. Next one, it's Yakuza 4. Similar to Yakuza 3, just felt like picking up these games on the system, because now like Yakuza's becoming like bigger and bigger, that I just want to like pick up the games because I've really enjoyed them. The other spin-off game they made, Judgment, I'm honestly a bigger fan of that game compared to Yakuza, but I still will play through this whole series because they're all very, very good. I think the only Yakuza game I gotta get for the PS3 is just Yakuza Dead Souls, and that is one of like the few PS3 games of like recent months has shot up in value a little bit, because I think that game was never released on any other platform, and compared to the other games, instead of like a open world beat 'em up type game, the Dead Souls, it's a third person zombie shooter. Pretty weird that they made the game like that, but that's one thing that adds to the reason that the game shot up in value, because we have newer Yakuza fans, and they've suddenly realized, oh, there was only this game on the PS3 that's a completely different gameplay and all that. But yeah, anyways, moving on. Next stack, these are all PS2 games, and you got a decent amount here. This first one here, I only picked this up due to like the box that this is in. This is King of Fighters Maximum Impact. I have never played a King of Fighters game, truth be told, but I do like the art style and some of the characters they have in it. But the main reason that I want to pick this up is this whole box that this came with here. Yeah, there's two different cases in here, and this opens up like that. Has some information and art of some of the characters there. And then inside you do have the game itself, as well as a behind-the-scenes disc. So is this like a documentary of this game here? I thought that was kind of weird they decided to make that. I don't know any other PS2 game that had a release like this here, but if you guys know of any, like, do let me know though, because I'm really interested to see more stuff like this here. Next game, I'm sure like we all played back then, but surprisingly I never played this back in the days. Like I played the later versions, but now I finally have this version of the game. Shadow of the Colossus. So you all know this is definitely a landmark title in PlayStation's history. It's like a game that gets re-released on every single one of their platforms. I'm sure I'll be like surprised if it doesn't get like another re-release on the PS5, but yeah, this is definitely a very memorable game if you've played it. If you haven't, like, you absolutely must. It is such an amazing experience. This one I did play a little bit back. Then it was mostly my brother. I watched him play it, but it's like I also play, and I did like enjoy it a little bit myself. The Sims. Now, Sims is definitely a series that is much better off played on PC, obviously. But I just remember playing this a lot back then, that I just wanted to get back in my collection. Next one is Hitman Blood Money. This particular version apparently has like a bonus disc inside of it, which, looking at it, it's just a sneak preview of Kane and Lynch, whichever game it was that came out on the PS2, and then of course the actual like Hitman Blood Money game right there. Hitman is one of those series that these days it's my preferred stealth game series out there, because these days Metal Gear Solid is no longer a thing really, unless the supposed remake of like either MGS1 or 3 comes out and it's everything we want it to be, then hey, big series comeback right there. But anyways, speaking of Metal Gear, here's Metal Gear Solid 2 Subsistence. Kind of wish I had this when I did make my my MGS2 20 years later video, but yeah, I never had like the actual Subsistence release. They did have this in the Essential collection here, but the box art here is different though compared to that re-release. This is a very nice copy of it too. It's such a clean case overall. That very happy to have this. So I now only need to get the Metal Gear Solid 2 making of documentary, and that should complete my whole MGS collection on the PS2. Next one, it's Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Yeah, I've just haven't had this game in my collection for a long time. It's like, I did have the game back then, like me and my brother did, but we like got, for some reason, like we got rid of like the case and all that, and we gave away the game and all that. So yeah, just happy to have the original game back. Speaking of Grand Theft Auto, Here's the Grand Theft Auto, the Trilogy non-definitive edition, or should I say the real definitive edition, which is the original games here. So you may be wondering, like, why did I pick this up when I already have San Andreas here? Well, I'm glad you asked. This trilogy release here, this was a very late release in the PS2's lifespan, and the way you can tell is when you look at these games here. So look at San Andreas here as an example. So we know for like most PS2 game cases, inside you would have like the memory card holder up top and that certain spindle there. But for late PS2 game releases, they did change up the cases inside, where they no longer have the memory card holder up top, and the spindle is different as well. And that these new ones, they have like a new PlayStation engraving logo up the top of there as well. And also for like these trilogy games here, on like the actual disc, it does say like it's part of like the trilogy release that they've made as well. So therefore, this is pretty much kind of like a different like box art or re-release that they did for the system, hence why that I wanted to pick this up here. And this is still the superior version of these games as well, not whatever garbage that they threw at us like earlier, as I'm sure everyone on the internet knows. Alright, last deck here, this is all PSP games, and I think these are probably my best pickups that I've got here. But this first one, it's a dual pack of Twisted Metal Head-On and a MotorStorm Arctic Edge. They did make a couple releases where these are like double pack UMD games that they've released in just one package, and just inside it is just like the standard copies of the games here. As you can see, I've just wanted to get this mainly because of the sleeve, that it's a double pack. Do let me know like what other double packs they released. I know they did come out with a few of them, and I would like to like get all of them here. Next one, this is one RPG I do look forward to playing. It's called Valkyrie Profile at Lenneth. Looking at it, I don't know what to like compare it to. It seems like to be a turn-based RPG game similar to like old school Final Fantasy. I could be dead wrong on that because again I haven't played this game yet, but I really do look forward to playing this though. Next one, I've only picked this up mainly because the box art looked pretty cool. That's Fading Shadows. Looking at this game, it appears to be like a dungeon crawler game. Could be wrong on that, but then again, I just only picked this up due to the fact that the box art looked pretty cool on there. Alright, now these last ones here, these are all Atlas titles. And we do know how Atlas published games when it comes to like older systems. They are usually very valuable because typical thing of Atlas that they still kind of hold true today is they always do like one print run of their games and like never do it again. And with like how amazing like their games are, for like most of their games are, of course, they're all like games that most people just don't get rid of, and they just hold a lot of value to them usually. But this first one, this is a weird one to say. It's Gungnir. I believe I said that right. I apologize if I didn't. Yeah, this one, it looks really interesting. Don't know what to like compare it to, but yeah, I mainly picked this up because again, it was like an Atlas title, and due to my store credits, like better pick it up now or else before it becomes more expensive. And then this one, it's a Growlancer Wayfarer of Time. Well, once again, just another Atlas title that consider like picking them up now before they get expensive over time. But I really do like how this one looks as well. It's got like an anime art style to it. Seems to be turn-based as well. So another one that I do look forward to hopefully playing soon. But we have one more thing, and this is the pickup of the whole trip here. And I like spotted this as like we were doing the checkout, and I asked Dan, it's like, hey, can I see that right there? It's like I just noticed that instantly caught my eye, because this is part of a series that I absolutely love these days, that I do have a goal that I want to try and get every single copy of this game in the series throughout the entire series for my collection, because that's just how much I adore this series. But just when it comes to the older titles, good God, they're just extremely expensive, and this one does hold true to that. But this one, it's Persona 2 Innocent Sin soundtrack bundle. Yes, yeah, this game is like, it's definitely not a cheap game at all. It could possibly be one of the more expensive PSP games you can get today. But when I saw this, like, and realized that I still have plenty of store credit left, like, did not hesitate to pick this up here, because I love Persona so much. Like, I have the Solid Gold Premium Edition on the Vita, and you don't see them, but I also have like the collector's editions of Persona 5 as well as Royale. But this one here, there's barely much, there's almost nothing to this. So it comes in like this little box sleeve here, as you can see. And then inside, it's nothing but like just a standard copy of the game, as well as like what I implied with the name earlier, the soundtrack of the game as well. So there's like the standard copy of the game. It is authentic and everything. This is a manual UMD there. And then the actual, so it doesn't have every single track in the game, but here's like a soundtrack CD of it, though. I really like the artwork they've done for this as well. And the thing when I looked at the soundtrack inside is I thought, first off, this is like a little note from one of the developers of the game. I think it's like the actual composer of it, since it's the soundtrack, of course. But when I saw like the disc art right here, that threw me off, because this looks a lot like Yusuke from Persona 5 when I first thought. It's definitely not him, but I just can't help draw the comparison there. So yeah, this release, very, very happy to have. A great thing to add to the Persona collection. That as a result, I think for like Atlus published titles, I just need to get Persona 1 on the PSP, Persona 3, and probably the most expensive game on the system, Hexiforce. Those 3 games, definitely don't look forward to like potentially paying the money that I may have to get my hands on them, but hey, one day hopefully I'll get them, or if I get very lucky that I get them like far below what they actually go for. But hey, it's definitely will get them one day. So anyways, that will do it for the pickups that I got from GT Games. Like I said, if you're in the area in Traverse City, Michigan, please check them out. They're an awesome store. Dan, Corey's, everyone works there. It's like, they are awesome people. It's like, appreciate them. It's like being patient with me for all of like the stuff that I got for like checkout and my amiibo collection back then as well. So yeah, appreciate if you guys rate this video, share it with your friends, comment below of your thoughts on all the stuff that I got here. Do subscribe for more content like this in the future. Till then, guys, see you next time.